Hey guys, today we're going to take a sneak peek at the best gaming CPU on the market. So, if you're planning to buy one, then you're at the right place. Please do check out the description below to see all the featured products and their buy link. Let's get started. Best overall, the Intel Core i5-12600K. The single core speed for this chip is insane, about a 20% increase. As you may know, this chip has hybrid architecture, 6 performance cores and 4 efficient cores. The top 12900K has 8 performance, 8 efficient cores. The 12900K is way hot, and Intel souped this processor up to barely beat the Ryzen 5950X, but with a lot more heat generated. Keep in mind that the 5950 is $799 compared to $579, but Intel's is way more efficient and hot. In general, this gen and this processor, i5-12600K, is by far the best value. It trumps last year's processor i9-11900K and beats the 10900K with 10 cores, 20 threads, and multi-core. Honestly, I feel this is the only processor worth getting in this generation, since it has enormous heat and energy outputs with the other chips. It has 150 regular wattage and goes up to 180 with max load, which isn't that bad honestly. This chip competes with the Ryzen 5900X for multi-core and beats all Ryzen processors in a single core. Best power, Intel Core i9-12900K. The Core i9-12900K aims for the top spot as the best CPU for gaming, and by most metrics makes it soundly, by hook and by crook. Intel has leapfrogged back in front of AMD in gaming performance, utilizing a new architecture, process, approach, and platform, all the things we've been waiting patiently for it to do. From an enthusiast point of view, and the Core i9-12900K is an enthusiast chip after all, this chip obliterates previous Intel generations by most metrics: single-threaded performance, multi-threaded performance, clock speed, and memory performance. And you're probably paying less for the privilege, which is saying something in this day and age. From a gamer's point of view, the Core i9-12900K can deliver the performance to game, stream, capture, and more all at once. Though it must be said that cheaper chips, such as the Core i5-12600K, would appear the more sensible buy if you're primarily gaming, since even the Core i5 makes mincemeat of the 11th gen Core i9 for PC gamers, and will only hinder your graphics card at 4K and beyond, as much as most other modern processors. Best value, the AMD Ryzen 9 5900X. The AMD Ryzen 9 5900X is an absolute CPU monster, bringing the most significant gen-on-gen jump in single-core performance in years, which helps make the processor stronger across the board. The best part? You don't even need a new motherboard. This CPU might be the best available option. Rounded out by the PCIe 4.0 support, which Intel still hasn't implemented, the AMD Ryzen 9 5900X leads AMD processors to take the CPU crown finally. With it, there's no reason to buy an Intel processor for that gaming PC you're building. The AMD Ryzen 9 5900X is built on the Zen 3 architecture, which on a surface level may look similar to Zen 2. They're both 7 nanometers after all. However, AMD has redesigned the architecture from the ground up to increase IPC performance and efficiency to the point where it leaves no prisoners. The most significant difference in architecture from Zen 2 to Zen 3 is that instead of having 2 core complexes per compute die, each CCD only has 1 CCX, with each CCX having up to 8 cores rather than 4 cores on Zen 2. As far as raw specifications go, the AMD Ryzen 9 5900X is a 12-core, 24-thread processor with a boost clock up to 4.8 GHz. Best budget, Intel Core i5-10400F. The Intel Core i5-10400F is based on Intel's new Comet Lake microarchitecture that enables hyper-threading, increased L3 cache, and higher clock speeds across the entire 10th generation core product stack, and debuts new boosting algorithms, although just for the Core i7 and Core i9 SKUs. Our tested Core i5-10400F ticks at the same 2.9 GHz as its predecessor, but has an increased maximum turbo boost frequency of 4.3 GHz, double the threads, and 50% more L3 cache. The increase in clocks is necessitated as the underlying CPU cores are of the same design as the nearly 5-year-old Skylake microarchitecture. The Core i5-10400F is a locked processor, which means you cannot overclock it using the base clock multiplier. However, there are alternatives, such as tweaking the base clock itself. As an F SKU, you also lose out on the integrated graphics, particularly its excellent quick-sync media encoder. However, if you don't care about the GPU, you get to save around $30 over the i5-10400 that's going for around $200 these days. Best mid-range: the AMD Ryzen 7 5800X. The AMD Ryzen 7 5800X may have just helped AMD shoot past Intel in the processor race. More than anything, this CPU symbolizes AMD's complete domination of the mainstream desktop processor market, even more than the Ryzen 9 5900X. Intel has held the reins in the gaming processor market by always prioritizing the high clock speeds that PC games crave. To compete, AMD completely redesigned its Zen 3 architecture. So, while it's still based on the same 7nm manufacturing process as its predecessor, AMD changed the core die design to only allow for one core complex per die. To make up for this impactful change, each CCX now has 8 cores. That's up from 4 cores per CCX on Zen 2, significantly reducing latency between cores, and each core has direct access to 32 MB of L3 cache, helping improve gaming performance. It's these improvements in speed and efficiency that give the AMD Ryzen 7 5800X the most meaningful upgrade to gaming CPU performance we've seen in years. Alongside a much stronger single-core performance, Team Red also packed it with 8 cores and 16 threads. With solid specs like these, the AMD Ryzen 7 5800X will likely show up in a massive number of gaming PCs over the next year or so.
Thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, then hit the like button and subscribe to our channel if you loved it. Take a moment to hit the bell icon so you'll get notified of all our latest uploads.